Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15, 4th canto, chapter 15, text 1, titled King Prithu's Appearance and Coronation. Maitreya Uvacha Atatasya Punarviprair Aputrasya Mahipatihi Bahubhyam Matyamanabhyam Mitunam Samupadyata. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, thus the Brahmanas and the great sages again churned the two arms of King Vena's dead body. As a result, a male and a female couple came out of his arms. Text 2. Tradrishtva mitunam jatam rashayo brahmavadinaha Uchuhu paramasantushta viditva bhagavat khalam. Great sages were highly learned in Vedic knowledge. When they saw the male and the female born of the warm arms of Vena's body, they were very proud, for they could understand that the couple was an expansion of a plenary portion of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The method adopted by the great sages and scholars who were learned in Vedic knowledge was perfect. They removed all the reactions of the King Vena's sinful activities by seeing that King Vena first gave birth to Bahuka, described in the previous chapter. After King Vena's body was thus purified, a male and female came out of it, and the great sages could understand that this was an expansion of Lord Vishnu. This expansion, of course, was not Vishnu Tattva, but a specifically empowered expansion of Lord Vishnu known as Avesha. Text 3. Rashaya Uchuhu Yesha Vishnor Bhagavatah Kalabhuvana Palini Yamcha Lakshmya Sambhutihi Purushasyana Payini. Great sage said, the male is a plenary portion of the power of Lord Vishnu, who maintains the entire universe, and the female is a plenary expansion of Goddess of Fortune, who is never separated from the Lord. The significance of Goddess of Fortunes never being separated from the Lord is clearly mentioned herein. People in the material world are very fond of Goddess of Fortune. They want her favor in the form of riches. They should know, however, that the Goddess of Fortune is inseparable from Lord Vishnu. Materialists should understand that the Goddess of Fortune should be worshipped along with Lord Vishnu, should not be regarded separately. Materialists seeking the favor of the Goddess of Fortune must worship Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi together to maintain material opulence. If a materialist follows the policy of Ravana, who wanted to separate Sita from Lord Ramachandra, the process of separation will vanquish him. Those who are very rich and have taken favor of Goddess of Fortune in this world must engage their money in service of the Lord. In this way, they can continue in their opulent position without disturbance. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, new chapter begins. Title is King Prithu's Appearance and Coronation. As we all know, the continuation of King Vena's story, whereby the rishis, being very much compassionate towards the citizens of this world, they killed King Vena, who was a very sinful person, engaged in sinful activities. And following that, King Vena's body was preserved by his wife with mantras and medicines. And the sages, in order to create the succession, who would be the king, they engaged in churning the different parts of the body of King Vena. And first they churned the thighs, and that resulted in that Naishadha or that Bahuka. And we all saw yesterday how Bahuka's, features very black, and limbs were small and distorted, jaws, nose was flat, all these ugly looking features. And we discussed how yesterday the result of sinful activities by an individual creates this kind of misfortune for him in this world. Anyway, everything is temporary, but still within this world there is something misfortune and fortune. It is misfortune to have to get an ugly body, and the reason today it is explained here is because that body was result of, means all the sinful reactions which was there in the body of Vena had moved into that Bahuka's body. And then it is explained here that what was left behind, the rest of the body, they used the arms to churn. They churned the arms, and then they saw a couple came out of his arms. And it is described here that was the body of the plenary expansion of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, and the plenary expansion of Goddess of Fortune. From this we can observe certain things about how the sinful activities that we perform creates a residue, not only in the subtle body, but even in the gross body. This gross body, of course, is a result of the past seeds of sinful activities as well as pious activities. That is how this body is shaped. Is a direct evidence that the unlimited types of bodies that we see in this world, in the human being, it is directly connected to the sum total of background history of pious activities and impious activities of the person. And that is why each of our bodies are different, with different abilities, different looks, and different destiny for each of those bodies. And that is caused by us, by our own choices of activities. And the human form of life, this free will is so significant or so determining of our future that everything about us in the future is result of our present free will and the past free will that we have utilized. The soul, however, is not affected by papa or punya in terms of, doesn't get even scratched because it is spirit. Papa or punya, whatever we do, the memory of it is all within the material energy, whether subtle body or gross body. The soul is only associating with his self or his ego, with the false ego. That is all. The spirit soul itself is not damaged or anything happens to it. Just like in a dream, you see your head is cut off, but your head is never cut off. The same way in this material world, all the papa, punya, sukha, dukkha, they're all happening within the material field. Material field consists of 8 elements: earth, water, fire, air, heat, manas, buddhi, ahankara. That means this gross body and the subtle body. So this subtle body and gross body is what carries our reactions to both pious deeds and impious deeds. So our activities, even when one executes one duties of his varnashrama, he accumulates piety. And when he neglects it, then he accumulates sin. And further, apart from not doing one's duty as per varnashrama, other specific sinful activities, like we saw yesterday in that verse, hunting, plundering, all these stealing, then intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling. These are further very specific sinful activities which will deliver us sinful reaction, which will deliver us pain in this life, suffering in this life, unhappiness in this life, disasters in this life, losses in this life, which we see in real life. Life is full of dualities: pain and pleasure, loss and gain. So many of this life is full of duality. The dualities are caused by our background, bank balance of papa and punya. That is how this world is running. The law of karma is the only thing that can explain why some people suffer, why some people enjoy. People ask this question, why God has created these differences. God has not created these differences. God has created opportunity for you to create differences. He has given the material field and asked you to act or not act in certain particular way as per the laws of dharma. And when you don't act according to that, you yourself are attracting misfortune. Every misfortune we have in our life, we have attracted by our past activities. We should know that for sure. No accidents happen in this world. Nothing happens in this world by chance. Just like the sun orbit doesn't change. Even little, all the planetary systems are moving in their orbits out of fear of the Supreme, all-pervading Lord, who is the foundation of everything, a foundation of all matter, foundation of all material energy. Like beads are strung in a thread, The thread is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-pervading Lord. So it's very interesting here that there is all possible within the material energy, shifting of karma is all possible. The rishis shifted all the sinful reactions into one body, and the rest of the body was kept free from sinful reactions. So that body became the body of the incarnation of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, all-pervading Lord, Supreme Controller, and together with him, the goddess of fortune. Shakti Avesha Avatara. Prabhupada explains here, Prithu Maharaj was not Vishnu Tattva, but was empowered by Vishnu. That means when even an ordinary living entity can enjoy the plenary Shaktis of the Supreme Lord, and then that person is called Shakti Avesha Avatara. And because of his extraordinary power, we will see how King Prithu ruled this world, and there was perfect, he's a perfect king. And all those Shakti Avesha, a king who had the powers of Vishnu, who shared the powers of Vishnu. Just like we say, Prabhupada, Shakti Avesha Avatara of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shakti, or Nityananda Prabhu Shakti, is what has manifested world over the Krishna consciousness movement. That is why it is mind-boggling that how Srila Prabhupada could establish this Krishna consciousness movement when initially things were so dull. We see Prabhupada going every day and inquiring when is the next ship back to India. Prabhupada, he saw, it's all hopeless. Nobody is taking to Krishna consciousness. What will I do here? When you read his Leelas, then only you understand this. So then the same person, how did he do all these things? The Lord empowered. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shakti. Avesha entered. Avesha. For fulfilling Lord Chaitanya's mission. It is absolutely not a small feat, spiritually speaking also, to spread Krishna consciousness, spread Krishna's name all over the world. Seed has been planted already for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction that every town and village, his name will be sung. So such things are done by Lord himself. His Shakti entering into devotees. Inconceivable things are possible. How in every town and village it will happen? We do not know, it will happen. Through Shakti Avesha, devotees, each one of us can manifest Krishna's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shakti if we want to sincerely serve Srila Prabhupada and his vision. Like Prabhupada used to say, my only credit was I wanted to simply please my spiritual master. I just wanted to speak what he spoke. I wanted to just speak what the Shastras spoke. So the Lord, Vishnu is Vishnu. Lord Chaitanya is Lord Chaitanya. When you say Lord Chaitanya's avatara, that is He Himself. When you say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shakti Avesh Avatara, that means He is the incarnation of His Shaktis. That means His Shaktis have incarnated into that person. Krishna can do anything. Through anyone. So similarly, if we see here Prithu Maharaj's story, Leelas, as we go along, how he was an empowered emperor, spiritually empowered, brought peace, prosperity, spiritual opulence in his kingdom as a perfect king, Prithu Maharaj. So, if the world also, modern world has to change, if the golden period has to come, then not only we need a great Kshatriyas, not only great Brahmanas, but we need also an empowered Kshatriya who will be at the top of such golden administration in this world. These are all predicted. Don't see what is the present status of this world. When the Lord wills something, historically every act, every event that is happening in this world at a macro level is controlled and directed. Not a blade of grass will move without His sanction. He is directed towards His supreme will. And there is a supreme will that there will be a golden period within Kali Yuga for 10,000 years, which is centered around Sankirtana, centered around the mercy of the Nama Avatara, the blessing unlimited souls by descending on their tongue and entering their heart and purifying them and creating a revolution in their individual consciousness and collective consciousness, create a revolution. Just like here, individually we are practicing Krishna consciousness, but this consciousness are for the entire community. Put together, it creates a community consciousness. It creates a revolution. It's a revolutionary consciousness. If you see within the four walls of this temple, the consciousness is different. The consciousness is that of engaging everything for the pleasure of Radha Krishna Chandra. The moment you go outside this property, the consciousness is something else. Consciousness is different. You can clearly see that. Physically, this land and that land, no difference. But what is the consciousness here and what is the consciousness in the community outside? Completely different. So if pockets of consciousness like this can be created simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, by following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, chanting, hearing, Bhagavatam, deity worship, all these things, if we do, why? Why the whole world cannot change? It can change. Because the Lord wills. And for that world to change, you need plenary powers of the Lord. Without plenary powers of the Lord, you cannot bring about massive change. Prabhupada brought about massive change in consciousness of this world. Massive means massive. Not in the history of Bhagavatam also. Narada Rishi liberated one hunter. Like this, so many individual cases are there. Just compare with that, what Prabhupada has done in terms of bringing down the Lord's mercy to the world population. And how he's continuing. None of us have been with Prabhupada when he was on this planet. None of us. That generation is a different generation. But how this generation is still getting that Shakti, there has to be a source. That Shakti comes through Parampara. So this Shakti is coming from Prabhupada. Even now, that Shakti of Prabhupada, of the Shakti Avesha Avatara. And how now we can get that Shakti of the Shakti Avesha Avatara? By linking up with him through his instructions. These are all secrets. You cannot preach Krishna consciousness successfully if you have not got power. Spiritual power. Only by spiritual power you can do big service for Prabhupada and Krishna. You need spiritual power. The world has to transform further into Krishna consciousness. Each of us have to have spiritual power. And spiritual power comes in parampara. That parampara, the link, the pipeline, is to hook on to the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. For our instruction, for our personal spiritual life, and the instructions for his mission. And then empowerment will come. By materially struggling, you cannot do anything big in this material world. Devotees achieve big preaching results for Srila Prabhupada, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it is a Vaikuntha's mission. Just like karmis have big desires to establish their empires, their corporations and their empire. Similarly, we are servants of the Lord. Why we should not aspire to create a preaching empire when the emperor of that empire is commanding us to do it? That emperor of that yet to come empire of preaching Krishna consciousness is His Divine Grace, is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We have to remember that. We are after a mission. We have to stand on the spiritual foundation. We have to create a spiritual foundation through sadhana, through all these things. And then Prabhupada is waiting to empower us, empower each of us. Prabhupada is happy, number one, if we are saving ourselves from this material world. He is super happy, super pleased when we save ourselves by standing on Pakka spiritual platform and having ambitions like he had to spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was not an ordinary sadhu, only telling us, do japa. If you think of his personality, not simply do japa and self-realize. I'll teach you all how to do it. If his instructions is not limited to that. His personal life, we know, he was a very ambitious person for Lord Chaitanya's movement. That ambition was to do good to this world. Krishna consciousness is the highest welfare activity that anyone can do in this material world. Paradukha dukhi. So his ambitions were connected to that. They were not personal ambitions. In fact, you can say ambition is the wrong word. It got very wrong connotations. But such high aspirations he had, and he has, he continuing to have. The proof is that he is continuing to expand preaching Krishna consciousness. He is continuing to spread the holy name. He is continuing to spread the word of Vaikuntha through his books. So, chanting, book distribution, making people read, taking advantage of the fact that today people are educated, whether they are nonsense stuff they are put in their head or not. But because of education, they can read, they can understand. More today, more number of people can read and write than 50 years, 100 years back in this country. Which was there, of course, long back because of degradation. So now with this education, you read Karmi book, here is a Prabhupada book. Your ability to read. Read and understand. Hear Krishna Katha. So for that, Prabhupada is preaching, we have to give these books, we have to distribute these books. It's our very big mission. How much each of us have been influenced by his books. And that either to start with or later on to stabilize. Many people start with just by reading Prabhupada's books. Some others, they come into Krishna Consciousness Association and they get fixed up only by reading Prabhupada's books. So reading is extremely important. Vaikuntha Shabda is there. We have to associate with this rather than sit and speculate. That's why Bhagavatam class is very important. To hear. When you hear a speaker, you suspend your hearing, your mental speculations. If you're not going for Bhagavatam class, then something else is running in your head. Which is better? Better to hear Krishna Katha. Any questions? Yeah.
Prabhu, regarding the churning of the body of the Vena, Prabhu, my question is it literally churning or it has some other meaning or some mantra, some other
No other meanings. Literally churning, but that churning, what you understand, the churning or we understand is only gross churning. Along with that, so many mantras, so many other subtle, the rishis have applied their subtle energy. So it is not as we think. Everywhere there is a subtle energy also. So subtle material energy. But in principle we know, we already discussed how within one cell, each cell of our body contains the information of the whole body. That is modern science has proved. That's how DNA. The DNA carries, each cell has a DNA. This DNA carries a unique information of your entire body system. That means the information about you, what kind of person you are, what is your taste, everything is in each cell, in the DNA. So that way it is possible, very much reasonable that these things are possible. They did not have mechanical churners. You understand? Mechanical churners. But their cloning technology is all today, it's all very much possible. You clone, you put on goat's head on human head, you want. That's there, no, in Daksha story. Cloning is possible by cloning. Any other question? How advanced the material science was, we have no idea. How advanced the material science was to do all these things. Why? Because modern material science is sticking to only gross matter studying. Whereas there is an entire range of subtle energies that put together is matter. About that, we do not know anything. About that, who are the scientists about the subtle body? Rishis. They are the scientists of the subtle body. They can create this kind of engineering feats by combining gross body and subtle body. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, today we learned the sinful activities and the pious activities. It creates the destiny. Now, you have also explained further about the shifting of karmas. So, is it the right understanding when we come in touch with some sadhus, maybe mystically? So, there it's just, it's the right understanding there's a shifting of karma. And when we come in touch with the Shaktyavesha Avatara, pure devotee, there is a burning of karma.
No, shifting of karma has to be very specific. There has to be willingness. Number one. Shifting of karma is just like Prabhupada says, if you pay money for bhoga, if somebody gives you something, bhoga, vegetables or this, if you pay money, then that the person who is giving you that vegetable, the shopkeeper, he is not passing on his karma to you. So you take services from people, you give services to people. There's all karma is flowing, not only our individual karma. Like we take at the time of initiation, Prabhupada says he'll take all our karma. Means he will manage all that bahuka factor in us. That he will manage. And then he'll put all good things that are... Actually, why did they take this from Vena's body? Why they preserved? Earlier verse says that lineage, there's a good part to that lineage of, the devotees, devotee emperor. There's a lineage. But here when it came to him, he spoiled everything by his sinful activities. So they separated that, and so that now the original purpose of these rishis we are seeing, that they have taken out the good part of Vena. Vena had a good part. Grindaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.